entire season. Recapping, reviewing, going over the entire season. That's what happened before the season even started. The midway point, the All-Star game, the trade deadline, the NBA playoffs, the in-season tournament, and of course talking NBA Finals. We're talking and reviewing, maybe even just recapping the entire 2024 NBA season. And thinking about going back all the way to pretty much like September of last year sounds crazy, right? It's already feeling like the next season's starting so soon, even though it just ended. It's so funny. Anyways, make sure you guys like the video. Guys, do like the videos, if you guys like the sports whisper ramble videos. If I should continue doing sports ASMR, let me know by giving this video some support. I would definitely love to know your guys' feedback on that. And yeah, make sure to comment down below maybe your favorite part of the season, the funniest part, the most disappointing team, the most overachieving team. How do you feel about the NBA Finals? Let me know down in the comments. And yeah, I guess we should get started. We're going to be looking at some interesting stuff throughout the NBA season that we had this year. Now, I think I'm going to start at the end of this season and just talk about the NBA Finals because it just ended. I'm sure a lot of you want me to go over kind of what happened and how I feel about it because I have some interesting takes about this NBA Finals. If you didn't know that the NBA Finals were even going on, the Dallas Mavericks were taking on the Boston Celtics, the West versus the East. And the Boston Celtics are your 2023-2024 NBA champions. Clap it up for the Boston Celtics. Very, very, very fun team. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about how I felt about them in previous time because that's going to spoil the rest of the video, because I'm going to go over like my picks and like my predictions, my thoughts and opinions on teams and stuff before the season started. But anyways, the Celtics in this playoff run, in this NBA Finals, were as dominant as they've always been. The Boston Celtics this year were the best team in basketball, and that didn't change maybe at any point in time in the entire year, including the playoffs and including the NBA Finals. They were just the best team in basketball, and they showed it in this year's NBA Finals, beating the Dallas Mavericks 4-1, ending the series in a gentleman's sweep, as some people like to call it. And God, this NBA Finals sucked. And that's not even a troll, a meme. That's not me trying to clickbait or whatever. This NBA Finals sucked. Last year's Finals sucked. The year before that was an okay NBA Finals. It's crazy to have to think so far back. The last time we even had like a good, an okay NBA Finals. Like I think it must have been the Bucks versus Suns final. That was fun. That was a good one. It's been so long, and I really thought, guys, this was going to be it. It wasn't it. So again, Boston ended up beating Dallas 4-1, winning Game 5. Well, they won Game 1, 107-89. Won Game 2, 105-98. Boston won Game 3, 106-99. Again, gentlemen sweep. You gotta get them one. Let them have one. Dallas won that game 122-84. That game carried some pretty heavy sort of toil in the media. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, finally, here they come. Finally, here's Luka Doncic. Finally, here's this team. Got the momentum." And then in Game 5, they lost 106-88 in a game where you, before, in the previous game, won by 20. You get, actually, more by that, almost 40 points. I think it was if I remember, it was the third highest deficit win in NBA Finals history. Like, they almost won by 40 points. It was like the most point gap, like the third most point gap in NBA history, which is crazy for an NBA Finals. And then you lose by 20 points in the next game. Like, that is like the pure definition of a gentleman's sweep. Like, you just let the team have a little bit of fun, but then you put them to sleep. And that's what happened. In that final Game 5, in the box scores for Dallas, you had Derrick Jones Jr. putting up 10 points. PJ Washington putting up 4 points. 5 assists. Yeah, like, you could just definitely tell this Dallas team, and I talked about it in many of my videos, was that this isn't me, downing on Dallas, but like, they were just a team that was playing the best brand of basketball at the best time of the year, and they looked really good because they were peaking during the playoffs. But as soon as they got to the NBA Finals, they became the regular Dallas Mavericks. And the Boston Celtics were just the most consistent team. Maybe had a little up and downs, but they were just the most consistent team the entire year, and they never swayed. They were just always really good, and it seemed like at some points in time people were talking about Dallas. Could possibly Dallas this, Dallas that, and Dallas stayed true to who they were. And they just became the old Dallas Maverick team and almost got swept in the NBA Finals. Taking a look at the Boston Celtics, though, for their final game, you had Jason Tatum scoring at 31 points, having 11 assists and 8 rebounds. Oh my god. Jaylen Brown having 21 points, 6 assists, 8 rebounds. Derek White having 14 points. Jrue Holiday having 15 points. Hauser, crazy, almost having 10 points. Even Kristaps Porzingis didn't even need to perform all that well, only scoring 5 points. How many minutes did he play, though? He played 16 minutes, so yeah, kind of makes sense there. But yeah, that team it's just so they were just built so well all around. It's just such a well-built, all-around team. And that's why, well, they won the NBA Finals. Now, what's interesting about them winning the NBA Finals, though, if you guys didn't know, the NBA has a new award, and it is the NBA's Eastern Conference and Western Conference MVPs. It's given out during the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. And Jaylen Brown won that award. And me thinking, okay, Jaylen Brown wins this one, I'm just going to assume they're going to give Jason Tatum the NBA Finals MVP, kind of boasting of both your superstars. No. Jaylen Brown is not only the Eastern Conference MVP, he also is the NBA Finals MVP. Jason Tatum, the face of the franchise, that he's on every billboard, every poster, everything that's involved with the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum's face is the biggest. It's the most important. He doesn't win Finals MVP. It's not like when you have Andre Iguodala winning Finals MVP because he has to guard LeBron James. This could have been anyone's, and it could have been Jason Tatum's, but it went to Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown also did guard the opposing team's best player, and he switched off between Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. I was live streaming during the NBA Finals, and I had someone in chat say this, and it may be true. Jaylen Brown right now might be statistically just factually better, and is now the face of the franchise of the Boston Celtics. Like, he is not only the best player during your NBA playoff run, but even in the NBA Finals, he is voted as the best player. I think the Boston Celtics should be, maybe it is Jaylen Brown's team. Maybe they need to start focusing maybe more on bolstering up Jaylen Brown. I think that could be a very interesting argument. If I could scale this NBA Finals on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd probably give it a 6, 5.5, like a 5.5 out of 10. It was interesting at the beginning, seeing the little back and forth between games 5 and 6. I mean, games 4 and 5 was fun, but that was really about it. I didn't watch too much of the NBA Finals. Which kind of brings us full circle, because going back to the very start of the NBA season, let's see who actually were the favorites to win the NBA championship. Now, if I can at least remember, I am 99% sure before the season started, I also had the Boston Celtics as the winners of the NBA Finals. I just thought they were the best put together team. Also because, by the way, I'm putting a stick of gum in, because of some trades they made, which I guess we can also talk trades throughout this video as it comes into sort of relevancy, because they did trade for Jrue Holiday, and obviously that came with the trading from Jrue Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers for Damian Lillard, which is insane. Yes, the start of the year started off with a bang with Damian Lillard. Obviously, of course, you could probably tell I did know a little something about that happening, and that was wild. I did not see that coming. I thought Drew Holiday, obviously winning a championship there, kind of solidified himself as being a focal point in that team, and Bucks were going for a home run and trading for Dame, which is wild. Then obviously Boston getting Drew Holiday, getting arguably one of the best defenders in the NBA, super smart, high IQ player, just a guy who plays his role. That guy can be a guy who can drop 35 points in a game or have 8 points in a game, but still be impactful on both games. Now, according to Sports Illustrated, and this is an article from October of 2023, which again seems like forever ago. They also had the Boston Celtics as the #1 betting odd team to win the NBA championship, actually tied with the obviously newly acquired Damian Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks. And you had Denver, Phoenix, and the LA Lakers at 5, which is insanity. The Lakers were the 5th best odd team to win the NBA championship this year. That is wild. And Dallas had a plus 2,500, which is about the top 10, which isn't too crazy. What is crazy though is that Memphis actually had a better odd of winning the NBA championship this year, which is crazy. The New York Knicks were plus 4,600. The Minnesota Timberwolves were plus 5,500. Wow, the Pacers, who were in the Eastern Conference Finals this year, were a plus 26,000. And they almost made the finals. That's special. That's wow. Now, going on to this NBA season, it was a lot of fun. One thing that they did bring this NBA season that was new was the in-season tournament. I know probably everyone forgot about the in-season tournament. It's actually kind of fun because when the in-season tournament was going on, I was in New York City, which also feels like it was just a lifetime ago when I was in New York City. But I made this video when I was in New York City. Now, if you don't remember what the in-season tournament was, it was basically just each NBA team being put into groups like they do in other sports around the world, like football or soccer, whatever you want to call the sport. Like, for example, the West A group, you had the Memphis Grizzlies, the Phoenix Suns, the Lakers, the Blazers, and the Jazz. They each would play each other, and the team who had the best record would move on to the in-season tournament. The teams faced off, and for the different group winners, you had the Lakers, the Suns, the Kings, and the Pelicans. Then for the East, you had the Bucks, the Knicks, the Pacers, and the Celtics in the in-season tournament bracket, which I am actually not gonna lie, am very excited to see this again next year. I thought this was actually a fun idea. Now, do I think this should count as like an accolade or, put people into the Hall of Fame for having multiple of these? Absolutely not. Is it fun? Yes. I love like single game elimination brackets. I love watching them in all sports. So seeing it in my favorite sport of basketball was a lot of fun. We had the Lakers taking on the Phoenix Suns. The Lakers did end up beating them. We had the Kings taking on the Pelicans. The Pelicans, I guess you could call it upsetting the Sacramento Kings. Then in the East, we had the Bucks taking on the Knicks, where it was the Bucks. The Bucks then played the Pacers, because the Pacers actually beat the NBA champions now, Boston Celtics, in that series, which is insane to think about now. But yes, the Pacers did beat the Boston Celtics. The Pacers then on winning and beating the Milwaukee Bucks. You had the Lakers taking on the Indiana Pacers in the first ever in-season tournament. And LeBron James and the LA Lakers were the first in-season tournament champions. Champions, I guess, ever. Wow, they call them the champions. You also had the NBA All-Star Game this year, which was also pretty meh. This year, the East stayed the East, the West stayed the West. The All-Stars didn't mix and match like they did in the drafting years, which I actually loved. The NBA All-Star Game draft, that was a lot of fun, but they didn't do this year. And the East actually ended up winning 211 to 186. Now, what's pretty cool about this one, your boy Damian Lillard actually ended up winning the NBA All-Star Game MVP. Also won the NBA three-point competition, which is insane. Very, very, very cool to see that. Seeing your favorite player kind of ball out like that was pretty sick. He was on the winning team too, which is also really cool. And yeah, I think Mac McClung won the Slam Dunk Championship. I think, if I can remember, Mac McClung won it again. I didn't pay attention to this year's Slam Dunk contest. Mid. Not even mid. Slam Dunk contest. The NBA All-Star game this year just wasn't that great, and I don't know. They need to switch it up a game again, or just have some more competitiveness. It was just very boring. We had the NBA trade deadline that also happened in February, which also was very lackluster. The only big-time trades I really remember happening were Bojan Bogdanovic getting traded to your Knicks, which was actually a big holster in that team. Sadly, though, if I can remember, he got hurt, couldn't play with them really, and didn't really make that much of an impact. Maybe next year if he comes back, that could be nice, but that was one of the bigger trades. Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington getting traded to the Dallas Mavericks to get them to where they were in the NBA Finals was a big round of applause booed from the Dallas Mavericks. They traded away a couple of random players, some first-round picks, and got some key contributors to this NBA Finals run, so big ups for Dallas for making some big-time moves there. But yeah, a lot of other players didn't do anything. Zach LaVine is still on the Bulls. DeMar DeRozan still on the Bulls. Trae Young, who knows what's going to happen to him. The Lakers are always in every team's trade rumors, but they didn't really make a big move. I think they signed Spencer Dinwiddie, and that was really about it. Patrick Beverley got traded to the Bucks. It just wasn't a good NBA trade deadline either. Now, obviously, with Damian Lillard getting traded and some other things happening here and there, it was a pretty crazy NBA offseason. But during the season, nothing really happened. No teams really shifted their sort of NBA title expectation. It was just a lot of key role players being traded, which I guess is a good thing, but still pretty boring. Going over now to the NBA playoffs, and man, the potential of this year's NBA's playoffs were just something that could have been absolutely insane. But also, sadly, nothing really happened. We had OKC against the Pelicans. Obviously, OKC slapped them. Clippers versus Dallas. That was a competitive series, but obviously, with the Clippers, injuries happened, and Kawhi Leonard couldn't even play. I'm not laughing at that, but just the fact that Kawhi gets hurt in the playoffs after all this resting and yada yada yada, he still is just such an injury-prone player. It's crazy at this point. Dallas beats them. The Minnesota Timberwolves, I think, almost sweep, or they did sweep the Phoenix Suns, which of course the Phoenix Suns having Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker this year. They were a scary-looking team at the start of the season, but as the season went on, that team was also just kind of a meh team, and they got taken advantage of, is what I meant to say. Very much so by Minnesota. Denver and the Lakers, that was a competitive series. Each game was close. The Lakers just couldn't close any of the games. Then we had OKC against Dallas, which Dallas actually won. Dallas beat the #1 record team in the NBA Western Conference. Again, big ups to Dallas. They looked extremely well in the playoffs. And then in my opinion, well, I'll just say this. Minnesota beats Denver. We'll come back to that series. Minnesota and Dallas in the Western Conference Finals, and then Dallas just looks like to beat up on a very tired and gassed out Minnesota Timberwolves team to reach the NBA Finals. Then in the East, we had the Celtics and the Miami Heat in the first round, which the Miami Heat didn't have Jimmy Butler, which kind of sucks, but they didn't. So Boston beat them pretty handily. Maybe Jimmy Butler, it's a closer series, but I do still think Boston beats them. Cleveland against Orlando. Cleveland beats them. Bucks, Pacers. Giannis couldn't play, got hurt. Chris Middleton playing on I think a sprained ankle, and then also Damian Lillard gets hurt at some point in this series. Bobby Portis gets thrown out of a game. This team was just not Milwaukee. The Pacers did not beat the Milwaukee Bucks. They beat one starter and a lot of bench players, but big ups to the Pacers for, I guess, beating the Bucks. They move on. Knicks, Sixers. Joel Embiid was playing 40% healthy in this series. There is obviously that big meme of Joel Embiid with his eye. Whatever's happened with that, that was kind of scary. And they end up losing to the Knicks. Knicks move on. Then we have Boston against Cleveland. Boston beats Cleveland, and Donovan Mitchell also didn't play, so they beat them pretty handily. The Pacers versus the Knicks. I thought this was going to be a very competitive series, but injuries also occurred in this one. I think Jalen Brunson got hurt at some point. Obviously, Julius Randle wasn't playing. OG Anunoby didn't play. I think also Josh Hart got hurt at some point in time in this series. It was just injury city for New York City, and they ended up losing to Indiana, making them again move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, going up against the Boston Celtics, where Tyrese Halliburton also got hurt. It's kind of weird how the star player of every single team the Boston Celtics played got hurt at some point in time in the series. Every single time. Very weird. Boston moves on to the NBA Finals. Dallas versus Boston. We already talked about that series. Boston wins the entire NBA championship. Now, this year's NBA Finals definitely had a lot of sort of potential of being a great one. The NBA playoffs had a lot of potential to be a great one. And it was just all kind of set to a lower standard, and that's what really sucks. I think the best playoff series we got this year was Dallas. Sorry. No offense to Dallas. Not you guys. Denver. Meant to say Denver. Denver versus Minnesota. That was by far the best series this year. Back and forth. Big shots. Trash talking. Media. It was just, ooh. That's what I wanted to see more of. It was a Game 7. And it was a fun series. And that was it. We got that kind of early in the second round of the NBA Western Conference, and we never saw anything more than that. So, in my opinion, we only got like one really good series, when I think a lot of series could have been a lot better, but it is what it is. I guess we can talk about the NBA awards, like Nikola Jokic winning the NBA's MVP. Kind of controversial. A lot of people said it should have went to Luka Doncic for what he did to that team, taking the Dallas Mavericks from a team that were not even in the playoffs, and not even really changing too much of that team, carrying that team to not only a really, not a really good, but a good fit seed in a very tough Western Conference, but also just kind of hindsighting what he did throughout the NBA playoffs. Like that, maybe he should have been the MVP, and arguably right now he might be the best player in basketball. You could definitely argue that. Who else was there? Victor Wembanyama, of course, his rookie year. That was very exciting to watch. He won Rookie of the Year. Of course, he should have. Rudy Gobert locking down maybe the best defensive team in the NBA with the Minnesota Timberwolves winning Defensive Player of the Year. That one was also pretty okay. You know, that makes sense. I don't remember who won Coach of the Year. I think it was Mark Daigneault of the OKC Thunder, which again, I think they were one of the, if not the youngest team to ever get the #1 seed in the NBA. I think their average age is like 16 years old, and they had the #1 team, so shout out to the coach for locking that team in and getting him to where they needed to be. Yeah, so that is the 2024, I guess technically 2023, 2024 NBA season. And obviously, as I've been saying throughout this entire video, it was just pretty okay. Nothing really happened. The playoffs were decent. The finals were bleh. The All-Star game was meh. The trade deadline, nothing happened. I guess before the year was the best part of the year. The draft, the free agency, the trades before the start of the season. That I think was the most fun of this entire season, which sucks. If I had to rate this season on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give it like a 6. There were some funny moments, some cool things that happened. But yeah, this season was just kind of whatever. And I think this is no offense to any of your favorite teams out there. Kind of a forgetful NBA season, which is definitely not a good thing. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this kind of just whisper ramble of the NBA. And I guess you could say this is a complaining video. I'm doing both fingers. But, I don't know. I think I'm just mostly hoping for a good NBA season next year. Obviously, there's a lot of potential, but there always is potential. But I'm really excited to see what's going to be happening in this next season's, I guess, NBA draft, more trade talk, more NBA free agency at the start of the year, next year's NBA's in-season tournament, what happens with a lot of players and teams and trade excited for next season to start. So make sure you guys, of course, also like the video if you also agree, if you are excited about next year already. I know I am. And comment down below how you guys feel about this year. Maybe I want your rating from 1 to 10 on this year's NBA season, the finals, the playoffs, whatever you want to grade down below. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I love ya, love ya, love ya, love ya, love ya, love ya, and I hope to see you again in another video very, 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 very soon. Alright, guys.